or comments on any of the reports you have before you? Hearing none, do I have a motion to recommend the financial reports to the full board?
I'll motion.
Ms. Hool, do I have a support?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner, is there any further discussion on the reports, financial reports you have in your packet? Noting that the deposit detail is absent. Hearing no additional comment, all in favor of the motion to recommend the financial reports as presented to the full board, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Bills for review. You have the folders in front of you. I trust those have been reviewed. Looking at Ms. Gardner and Ms. Hool, are there any things you would like to highlight relative to the bills for the water system for the last month? Please.
No.
Nothing? Please, if you have not already, review them at your leisure during the course of the meeting if you prefer. Do I have a recommendation to accept all of the bills and forward them to the full board for approval?
I will.
Ms. Gardner, do I have a support for the motion?
Second.
Mr. Janke. Any further discussion on the motion? And the motion to accept, we need a vote on it, to accept the bills and recommend them to the full board. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 7, public comment specific to the Osceola Township Water Board. Is there anyone in attendance or attending via Zoom that would like to offer comment or ask questions of? You have up to 3 minutes if you so desire. Anyone? We will reserve time at the end of the meeting should someone wish to comment before the board on any matter under consideration or one that they think of. Please note the time as 6:07. 6:05. I stand corrected. Thank you. Moving on to item 8, reports, water operators report. Mr. Maxwell, the floor is yours. It is a written report. It has been distributed.
Krista, do you want one?
Oh, yeah. I got it. Here.
And now you disconnected
Oh,
something.
you just want to plug your
Just the
phone.
power.
Meter at degrees went all right.
Hello? We can't hear, we can't hear anything.
Yeah, Krista, it appears the sound is cut out on your end.
It's cut out on Cindy's end as well.
Can we be heard now? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Cindy can hear now, but I don't see a picture.
Yeah. The picture's not.
Yeah, I can see your picture. You're coming up fine picture-wise and sound-wise right now.
Okay,
Are we ready to go?
yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah.
We appear to be back online. Bob, if you could continue, please. Maybe you want to back up.
Yes,
An item
I
or-
can see a picture as well, Cindy. It's good.
Thank you, Cindy.
We need to replace the water meters in Tamarack. They are the old water meters and put new meters and new radios, because the radios are the old style and they're 20 years old at the end of their life. If you see the price there. I got a price for a pipe cut off for copper. They had to use that in Mason. It actually crimps the pipe and then it squeezes and that kind of, it's not perfect, but instead of shutting down the main for a repair, it's a lot better. Yeah, freeze kit is, very expensive. Also, I got a bids there. Aaron has them from the shop on the highway there for to repaint the truck. It's $53.95, and I asked them for Kelly Blue Book, which after it's been painted, and what he does, there's a lot of rust on there. You can sand it off and paint over it, and it doesn't hold up. What they do is sandblast it. So that's why that price is that way. And the Kelly Blue Book for the truck that's taking in the mileage in the year of the vehicle, and with that paint job, it'd be $26,408.
That's the estimated value when repaired.
What's estimated? There's a range on there. If you were to trade it in, it's probably about maybe 22. Because the dealer wants to make money on it. So. Oh my God.
Do you have 3 specific requests then for funding this evening? One for 20 radios and 20 meters, summing to $6,400. The second one for a pipe and a freeze kit as well.
No, the freeze kit, I just took a price on it.
Okay, so that's not applicable. And the third one is for truck painting. So the sums are $6,400, $300, and approximately $5,400. Questions of Bob? What is the board's pleasure relative to the request made for purchasing additional meters, radios. what
So
is
with this
that?
paint job, are we trying to just save this truck, or what are we trying to do here? Just, I know it's rusting, that's why I brought this up, the other thing up before, you know?
And we're working on that as well. You want me to dovetail my conversation into this conversation?
Well, I don't know how you wanna do it, but I definitely wanna know, I mean, I know if we leave it like it is, I know
You're gonna have holes in it.
it's not gonna take long. So I know that part. Just a matter of how do we wanna go forward from here? Are we thinking about this other thing, and do we wanna paint it still, or do we want to just put it over here and let it be the maintenance truck during the, you know, or how do we wanna do this, you know?
What's the board's pleasure?
Is it worth the 5,400 to do this, or do we just make it a maintenance truck? And I'm just asking, you know, I'm just talking out loud here, you know, or do we go for it? Do we use the
Tracy, thoughts?
5,400 and just get another truck
And use it as a maintenance truck.
and then use this one as a maintenance
How
truck?
many more years do you think we'd get out of it as is?
As a maintenance truck? Well, I mean, I don't know.
Takes care of it. Really taking care of it.
The problem is how long we want to get out of it. You know, I mean, the truck itself is still good. I mean, you know, it's just a matter that you're starting to rust. You know, I mean,
There's only 61,000.
right. And then Dale wouldn't put anywhere near the mileage on it that Bob puts on. So it doesn't get nowhere near the use. I mean, you've seen that blue truck that we had that we limped that thing along for a long time before we pulled a pin on that one. So I feel like as a maintenance truck, you're going to get way more time out of it than you will if it's the water truck.
But will the rust kill it before the engine goes?
That's the question I'm asking, is that we're spending the 5,400 to try to save it, and then it lasts longer as a maintenance truck, or at least it looks better. I mean, you still don't want to be running around with a rusty old bucket for a township truck either. You know, I mean, that doesn't look good either.
If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it before winter.
I'm just throwing this out there. I'm just, you know, so. But we're gonna spend 5,400 here, and then I don't know what we're talking about for this, how much we'd be talking about spending. I know that the nice thing is, I think we're talking about paying only half of the truck value, so that's.
Actually, a little less. It's a 45-55 split, and we had a conversation as recently as yesterday on this idea to bring something to the board this evening based on discussion at the last meeting. And we've got a new fiscal year beginning in less than a month. It would have come out of next year anyway, but we will start working on the application process already this month, probably with a little later board meeting in October. I believe it's on the 14th. We might have an application move down the road. We are looking for revenue. There's money inside the water system for truck replacement. There is a question as to how we would use that dedicated revenue inside a grant application for rural development, but Mr. Holmes is looking into options for us from UP Engineering. So we've got some ideas that also could come out of general fund revenue, not yet committed, if there is any, to increase our stake. And if, for example, we have $20,000, that would represent only 45% of the new vehicle value getting this grant approved. So we would have well over 45,000 to move towards a extremely new used vehicle or newer used vehicle or a brand new one.
But I would head towards the route that we did last time and see if we can get one of those municipal deals from Ford or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got this thing as 26,405. I think we paid 27 for that thing. Brand new,
yeah,
because of the municipal thing that they do.
Yeah.
You know, so even though it's a 2,500 and it is, I think it was, how much did we pay? I thought it was like 2,700 or something we paid for that thing, or 2,900 maybe. I don't know. 29,000. Sorry, yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So we are working on it, to answer your question.
I mean, but then the plow alone was probably another 10, 12, wasn't it? Wasn't that plow 36? Well, it was only 66 installed. What do you think that other truck is worth?
plows worth more than a truck.
And I figured that.
We're looking at
Well, I'm
1,200
looking at saying
expenditures.
if we move that truck over and then we try to sell this truck, gain some revenue, even if it's a few $1,000s off of that, you know, I mean,
The truck itself runs great.
yeah, I mean,
Plow is good, you know, that thing really pushes snow, I'll tell you, I was impressed.
so,
We're at 10.5 right now in the new truck fund.
10.5?
Out of the water system.
Correct.
And we'll also be searching the general.
So
fund.
I would say that this truck, if you moved it over, you're looking at a good 5 to 7 years out of it without too much trouble, I think.
Well, if you get it painted, you get at least that.
That's, well, I mean, there's, again, I don't feel like we should be running around with a truck with a box falling off or something. So you can probably have to reevaluate that after 7 years, but.
Well, the first two purchases in this, for sake of discussion, are $6,700.
Yeah.
And it certainly sounds like we need those items. If we table the painting until next month, and we perhaps have a better picture of revenue, could they still get it done before winter if we agree to paint it in October versus September?
I'm not opposed to painting it. I'm just making sure
Right.
we're doing I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, I just think I'll be in a little better position to present to the board some harder figures relative to
To the
what we're
other
looking
truck
at, the
part of
grant.
it?
Yeah, in a month. That's my hope.
Yeah.
After talking with Chris, after talking with.
Yeah, I hope
Chris
it'll
and
get
Jason.
snow by then.
Like Colorado.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
the?
Right?
And one,
Yeah.
Okay, so
What's the
let's,
board
can we, yeah, and for these radios, I mean, they are 20 years old. Yeah, I guess there's no way around it. 6,400 is a lot for that community's expenditures on considering that a lot of that.
Well, that
loan
would have
is-
been changed out eventually anyway, but I
So we,
want to get it done before winter so that you got more accurate reads. Also, I can, these new meters, I can get a history on them, so if somebody thinks they're getting away with cheating.
okay, so, I guess, I'll make the motion then to do the 67
It would be 6,700.
6,700 for the 300 and the 6,400.
And we will defer the truck decision until the October meeting.
Sounds good.
I have a motion to approve 6,400 for meters and pipe shut off for 300. Is there support for the motion?
I will support.
Support. Any further discussion or questions of Bob on the proposed purchases of radios, meters, and a pipe shut off?
Are we taking that out of, is there the maintenance, what line item are we gonna take that out of? That's,
This will be a shared
This is-
expense, will it not?
no,
This is just Tamarack,
our
isn't
meter,
it? Did you say
Well,
Tamarack?
most maintenance
Mason.
costs are shared expenses, are they not? Why do they take it out of the two
I mean,
systems?
we're just buying blanket meters usually, but these are for a specific cause, so I don't know.
Are all of the meters dedicated
Just
then to
put-
Tamarack City?
No.
None of them are.
Mason.
Mason.
Well, that's
Oh.
precinct one though, that's still, is that, that's Dollar Bay water.
That's all right.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm assuming actually these ones might not be shared, but I don't know for sure. Are they shared? Have we been sharing meters when we buy meters?
Well, it depends on when I order meters.
If there's,
If I use one at Tamarack, then it gets charged at Tamarack.
okay, all right.
We're looking at a purchase.
Osceola Township Water pays for them. And then wherever they get used, like if it goes to Tamarack, then
Okay,
I charge Tamarack for it.
Okay, all right.
my precincts and water systems mixed up.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
So a motion and support. Any further discussion on the motion? To recommend up to the board the purchasing of a pipe shut off and the radios and meters. No further comment or question? All in favor of the motion to recommend to the full board the purchase of radios, meters, and a pipe shut off, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. To recommend to the full board, let's make sure that that goes on the board agenda then, under probably the water system. We're under new business. Move
So-
it down to new business.
So you were flushing lines or something? Is that, cause I mean, the other day there was, it was two days ago? There was a lot of stuff in the water. In Dollar Bay here. So,
You mentioned flushing lines. Was that specific to Mason?
you were saying
No,
something that
just
somebody was
Mason.
complaining about debris and I,
Mason.
oh, well, there was Dollar Bay here, was it, I think it was
That's-
Monday.
Yeah, you know, that's
Monday or
probably because
Tuesday.
I was doing some flushing on like Chippewa,
Okay.
both ends of
I
Chippewa.
mean, it was a lot. It was, you hold up a glass of water and there was a lot of stuff floating around in there. So my wife brought it over to me and said, "What's this?" And I was like, So
There were no fish in your order.
I didn't see a fish, no.
Nice, Ron.
Anyways, just
Anything
bring it
else?
up.
It's good now?
I actually think it's good. Yeah, I most of the water that I drink, I take through the refrigerator and it goes through a filter. So I think that was when it was. My water lines in the house are all brand new, so including my service all the way. So I don't know where that was coming from. Maybe there was some flushing that was causing it, shaking some stuff
Well,
up.
it's possible, I can't, off the top of my head, I probably was doing some flushing on your street.
Okay.
Bob, do you have anything else? Aaron, any other comments?
No, I just bring it up.
Anything else on your report? And last month we approved purchases. Those will all come in, right? Thank you. Anything else? Thank you, sir. Water Secretary's report is in your packet.
Mhm.
Questions, comments, concerns? Moving on to unfinished business. This is just pretty much a heads up. The water system ordinance is being reviewed down in Tamarack City by the advisory. There are some questions, some perceived anomalies in it that they think of a little bit of a comprehensive review might help straighten out or clean up. I am suggesting that the Osceola component of the township water system also get copies if you don't already have one and begin a casual review. I would like to spend a little bit of time on the findings of both water systems, individual members at both the 7th and 14th of October water board meetings. But they're looking for clarity, ease of use, and understanding, and we just think there's a couple of unintended and unforeseen, when it was reviewed, hiccups, if I may phrase it that way, that have caused some interesting interpretations of the ordinance. So assume that it will be on the agenda for a little more comprehensive review at our next meeting. And we'll have already had the meeting in Tamarack, and certainly we'll share that meeting with this board at our meeting on the 14th. It's primarily a heads up item. If you do not have a copy, just call the office or swing by when you get a moment and we'll get one for you. Any questions? Under new business, audit costs charged, you'll notice the financials that the 1920 audit has been completed for the most part, although there are still some work going on, and we have been billed and we have charged off the amount budgeted to both water systems. Pointing that out, we are also getting, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Krista, an analysis by our auditing firm as to actual time on task versus each of our primary budgets, if you will, water systems budgets and the township budget. So we can do something that we've talked about generally at meetings in the past, but we'll have more precise information for application, and that's assigning costs to the cost center that's most appropriate for that time. Mr. Janke has raised at meetings, for example, the water secretary and time on task for each of the systems, and looking into charging that off appropriately. Audit costs are another one. The amount budgeted for this year in both systems is less than $1,200, if I recall correctly. And the cost of the audit is something north of 15,000.
Closer to 20.
Closer to 20, thank you. So you can see that the amount charged off to the water systems is a small fraction of the total cost of the audit being borne by the township. So have asked and talked with our auditing firm, and that analysis hopefully will be available by our October meeting. Looking at
Definitely.
Tracy and, okay, thank you. So we charged it off this year as we would normally do, but the amount charged may not actually reflect time on task. We're hopefully gonna have that information for next meeting.
On that same vein, our audit should be ready to review at the October meeting.
Oh.
It will be done and submitted to the state by the end of the month.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Anything else from anyone relative to the water system and our meeting? If not, before I call for a motion to adjourn, one more time, is there anybody that would like to address the water board? We will allow, again, public comment, up to 3 minutes if anyone has anything they would like to ask or add. Anyone present? Anyone participating via Zoom? Hearing none, would you please note the time? It's time we offered an opportunity for public comment. Hearing none, a motion to adjourn is in order. Ms. Hool, is there support? Support. Mr. Jenke, all in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned. We'll take approximately 5-minute break before we begin the township board meeting. Thanks, everyone. You're gonna take a quick shot off to double check all your
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, Kristen.
Okay, do they have the audio muted?
I unmuted it to talk to you,
Okay.
but I had it muted.
But we should still be able to hear what's going on in the room since it's even though it's in between meetings. So I was wondering if Krista had muted the audio.
I don't know. Why don't you send her a chat?
Yeah, I did. I wrote, Krista, did you mute the audio?
Okay, I'll go back and mute mine.
Horst, can you hear? I just saw that you came on.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, I think they have the audio muted in the room, so we've asked them to turn it back on, but it's in between meetings right now.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. Thank you.
Yep.
Been running yet?
I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong.
Okay, the sound just came back on. That's good.
We back on?
Well, I'm not,
Did you get it?
hold on, no.
Okay.
It's just using the laptop.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, we'll let Tracy get back in and we can get started.
It's.
To set this mask in the right spot where I can talk to it and not steam up my glasses.
You know, that's what I was having trouble with it just a little while ago. I had to put it down.
I think it's working.
Let me know when everything's fixed and back set up.
That's the CM cap rate, so it's called.
No, oh yeah, okay. No, I got the right one.
It should be working.
Okay. I don't think we've had a meeting yet where we haven't had some kind of a hiccup or
Technical
glitch in the
difficulties.
electronics.
Oh my gosh. Love and hate technology. Okay, we're good, I think.
The kids come in running.
I know.
Is everyone ready?
I believe so.
We'll call the Osceola Township meeting to order. Roll call, please, of those in attendance.
Mr. Jenke?
Here.
Mr. Ware's absent. Ms. Gardner? You say here?
Here, I'm sorry. I'm missing it.
Mr. Hopla?
Here,
Myself.
we have a quorum, 4 present, 1 absent. Next item on our agenda after roll call is the Pledge of Allegiance. Those in the room, if you please stand, face the flag, and join us in the pledge. Move hats if applicable. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Ms. Gould, is there support?
Support.
Mr. Jenke, any additions, deletions suggested, or corrections for the
Yes.
agenda?
Can I add under new business B, community garden? Or should we consider it unfinished? I don't know. This is a new issue, so.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
We'll address it there. And we have a recommendation for purchases coming up from the water board. Have those under new business as well. Water board action items. There's accepting of the reports as well. Anything else? And that those additions are acceptable to, that made the motion and supported it? Your approval?
Yep.
We're all set with those additions? All in favor then of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, we have an agenda. Approval of the August 12th meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for the August 12th meeting as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support?
Support.
Mr. Janke? Any discussion on the minutes as presented? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the August 12th meeting minutes as presented, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Financial reports you have in your packet for your review and comment are financial reports for the township, for the road fund, Mason wastewater fund or sewer project, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water. Are there any questions or concerns about any of the reports?
Were we gonna fix the printing and publishing one?
Yeah.
Did we already talk about that, or?
No, we talked about something else last time that I fixed. I just noticed that one. I'll make a note of that.
We do have that reimbursement from,
Oh,
you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
reimbursement we have coming, so that'll cover part of it.
we have part of it
So that's a
coming on a
reimbursement, so you can add to
deposit.
the budget number there? We
Yeah.
can-
Well, it'll just,
It'll come in the top section too then or something? Is that a number we
Yeah.
don't know about?
And we do have some recommendations from the water boards and whatever that will be taken into account as we move forward with the amendment process. Ideally, we will have budgets for amendment minimally reviewed by our October meeting.
Yeah.
Hearing the general comments, is there a motion then to accept the financial reports as presented with the additions noted?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support?
That's part.
Ms. School, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the financial reports for general township, road fund, Mason wastewater fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township Water, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
You vote. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approval of payments of bills, general fund, road fund, Mason fund, Tamarack City Water, and Osceola Township. Recommendations coming up from the system to approve the bills. Do I have a motion to approve payment of the bills as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Hool, do I have support?
No,
To approve it? Excuse me, did I say Ms. Hool? I heard you talking. Ms. Gardner's motion, my apologies to Ms. Hool. and
I'll
to Ms.
second.
Ms. Hool supported. I got ahead of myself. We have a motion to approve payment and support. Motion from Ms. Gardner, support from Ms. Hool. Straighten that one out. Any further discussion on the bills? These are the approval of the expending of revenue. Have a roll call vote. Ms. Hool?
Mr. Jenke?
Yeah.
Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Hopewell?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
4 in favor, no negative votes. Item 8, public comment. The floor is now open to anyone who would like to comment, raise questions, or bring an issue before the board. You will have up to 3 minutes. Anyone present in the meeting room or participating via Zoom.
Hi, this is Kristen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I have put into the chat window a request to UP Engineering as the host. It's a technical question about the default view for this, the meeting. Is it Andrew that's helping out at UP Engineering?
Yes, I'm here monitoring it.
Okay, did you see that request? It has to do with what's the default view, because the recording last time showed just the Zoom window and we couldn't see the actual board meeting except for that little small window.
Yeah, I guess may not be the Zoom expert. I don't know why last week was different. I don't think I did anything different.
When I logged in, the Zoom window, the white window was the main window on the pop-up. So that's what I was asking, because it might be set up to do that again. So even though I've manually adjusted it, I don't know if there's a way to set the township as the default view.
Kristen and Andrew, this is Linda Heisler. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Kristen and Andrew. In fact, I was just playing with mine too. I have the same issue. I have the Zoom meeting. It's just a white box with Zoom in it. And then I have little tiny boxes with the township board and the participants on the right. What I had to do is adjust my screen also, Kristen, to, adjust my screen manually, but we should be able to see the Osceola Township in that larger Zoom box, if I'm understanding correctly.
Linda, you're understanding part of the thing, and I've done that as well for my view of the meeting, but there might be a different setting. It has to do with the recording for later, because last time the recording, when we went to look at the recording, all you could see was the white Zoom. And so that's why I was asking UP to see if there's any way to make sure that the recording shows the board just like the manual adjustment. And Andrew's saying he's not sure about that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because right now we still have just the white box with Zoom in it.
Right, and I've minimized that white box, but it would be nice to be able to actually see the board on the recording for later.
Right. Well, and as I said, now all I can see are I can try to minimize that white box, but all I can see are very small pictures of participants.
Well,
yeah.
that's adjustable during the meeting. It's up in the top right corner typically that you can adjust it.
We have some technical issues, and Mr. Karen is trying to address them. And I appreciate you bringing this to our attention so we can make efforts to improve the visual. But I'm asking at this moment if there is anything specific under public comment for the board's consideration and or response.
At this moment, we're just trying to get the technical. That was my only thing is wanting to have the technical the best we could under our circumstances. And I may make a comment later, but that was the more pressing need at the moment.
Understand. Andy, is there anything that you can try to do to alleviate the issue?
I'm looking through all my controls and menus, and I do not see anything that would indicate what last time was different or last meeting was different, or what I can do this time to ensure that it's actually recording the meeting view in large format.
Okay.
Thank you. We appreciate your efforts on our behalf to make the adjustments necessary. My apologies to those of you participating. We'll work on the technical issues through Mr. Karen to try to correct them before meeting's end.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else relative to comments at this time for the Township Board's consideration and or response? Thank you for alerting us. I'm sorry?
Mark, this is Cindy Barth. Will you be covering potholes in your supervisor's report?
I can certainly cover them. My response, however, will be very short. But yes, I will.
Okay.
I'll add potholes.
So my question.
Conversations with the road commission.
My question was, and I didn't want to ask it if you were going to be covering it at the meeting, but my question was, as supervisor, how can you assist with getting the pothole and the crumbly edge of the road on the post office side street fixed?
I'll respond during my report. A quick response is I'll be back in touch with the road commission.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll try to address it in a tad more detail during my report.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's no additional comment, we will provide an opportunity before we adjourn at the end of the meeting for public comment again. Please note the time. Thank you. Item 9, reports. In your packet, you will find the assessor's report. A bit more detail than seen in recent reports. Grateful for the additional information, and thanks to Krista for preparing that this evening. It came in rather late relative to getting the board packet together and pull it all together.
They're still sending letters to Steve.
Can I,
I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, we'll correct that.
She sent it, if you look in the report that she sent back, somewhere in the comments, she said something about how the last page of the thing, it says Mark Hulkel is the new supervisor under comments. Laura sent it back. It's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
before that L4154.
Okay.
But I really wanted to point out, because I was so pumped about this. So in the second paragraph of what she said, and I'm just going to read it because I'm really excited. We just received the AMR review letter, a copy attached from the state, and we're given a perfect score for the township assessment role. This reflects work done not only by us as your assessors, but also the board of review, the township treasurer for correct rebilling of PRE denials and filing paperwork, and the township board for having the necessary assessment related resolutions in place. So
what
yeah,
our plan?
yay us.
Yay.
Our plan worked, and we eventually got our thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this is the new one. This
Yeah.
is the fall. This is the
Yeah.
one that we were scheduled to have after the one which the reassessment was directly involved in. So
Okay.
moving forward, we're doing really good.
Congratulations to everyone that participated in that process, township level. It's kind of nice, a perfect score. Anything else on the assessor's report? Maintenance. Dale Rogers, I should say, the floor is yours.
Well, everything is starting to slow down. We'll be closing things up at the end of this month, but kind of banner year for trash and garbage all over the place. And I don't know, there's that road that goes to from Sandy Bottom.
Who is speaking, please? This is Cindy. Who is speaking, please?
Dale Rogers.
Thank you.
Maintenance.
That road that goes to the sand pit, that'll be leveled off before I tear an oil pan off the truck. I gotta go in there in low range. I had to actually cut my way in there.
It is in bad shape.
Yeah, it is.
What are you going
How
back there for?
I haul branches and stuff in there.
All right.
I had plenty of them.
Well, I mean, typically what we do is we usually get a hold of we have to get a hold of Julie or somebody to come in with a loader or something, just drag it.
Yeah, so there's
It's got a pretty good sized trench in it right now for sure.
big boulders. Yeah, there's some big rocks there.
So
There's a creek in there. We'll do some.
Both of us have been trying to contact Mr. Ebert. So
Yeah,
we'll double our
and I
efforts.
don't know how much longer that contact's actually going to be there. So
I know.
I know he's,
we may have to revisit this plan eventually. Might be another reason to start looking at our own backhoe or something like that, but whatever. Anyways,
we'll get her done.
yeah, I kind of turned that into a campground anyways, so.
Anything else, Dale?
What can we do about that cement slab in front of the bathroom? Because it's high on each side and a dip in the center. Every time you get a rain, all the water runs in the doors. Because I mean, it's deep. I could rent a bulldozer and show you.
I don't know. I guess we'd have to go look at it.
Yeah.
Come up with some kind of plan. I don't think there's a vault underneath the slab.
No,
I think it's just a slab. It's just a sidewalk.
Just sunk, yeah.
Sinking.
And then there's that tree down there that got to be cut.
Yeah. And to pick up on that theme, if I may, in your packet, to get an estimate before the board this evening, we did talk with Mr. Carlson, who it is, and have an estimate in your packet to take the balance of the tree down, cut everything up, and chop it up and dispose of it. And it's $1,800 if I recall correctly. How dangerous is the tree that's up from your perspective?
Well, it rotted on top, so part of the tree is still there and the rest of it moved on. So the other one can come down, you just don't know when.
There are other firms, of course.
it's not
We're
that
interested in
big a tree.
pursuing other estimates. It's the board's pleasure.
I think we should get at least one or two more, just to compare.
I can get a hold of Mike, but I don't know if he's doing any jobs with it right now.
What about that guy that you used to
Mike
get?
Tickenden, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in Lost. I don't know if he's doing any jobs up here or not. I can give him a call and see.
Are you still?
I reached out to,
Okay.
What's
I
the
got the
pleasure of the
list.
board then relative to other offers that come in? Do we accept the most reasonable? Go forward?
I think so.
Agreed.
Could I have that in the form of a motion then to accept additional bids up to 2 more? Would be 3 altogether, go with a little better and get it done?
I'll motion.
Second.
Ms. Wolf, Mr. Jenke. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Did we just expend money? Did we
Not
not?
yet.
Pardon?
Not yet.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Kind of.
sort of, kind of. Then may I add that that's to seek other bids and that a second roll call vote on the expending of funds is a little better. Can I have a roll call, please?
Okay, Mr. Jenke,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Hopla,
Yes.
myself, yes.
In essence, 2 pieces to the motion to go out and seek bids and then roll call to accept. Dale, please continue.
Was there any more discussion on that? Those trees up by the stamp up there on the Tamarack City Mill that lady wants a tree cut down?
Well, I've only had the one comment
Okay.
about the tree obstructing view. We could get an estimate to have that tree taken down as well, unless it's
Well,
something.
we'd like to take it down, but the problem is you got, it's gonna be a bear to get out of there.
Obstructing a view.
Yeah.
There is the desire of some in Tamarack City to be able to see the old
That old
mill
head on
site
top- the old head
and
on
the old
top of the
ironworks that are still visible, but there are trees in the way now.
Sounds like they can pay for it.
Yeah, so I said,
I agree.
That sounds what that sounds like to me.
Well, I had an interesting conversation, but not a follow-up conversation. But,
If we even really want that.
well, we can take a peek and see how much it would cost.
it's just it's a poplar, I mean, I could take it down, but that'd be what 4 of them that gotta come down.
Dale, anything else? There, and just a footnote, if I may, under maintenance, the tree issue and the road issue, we also have signs that talk about no trespassing. And Dale and I spoke about that. He's gonna go out and clear away the brush. So those signs are visible. We have had some calls on people using the sand pit as a target range. And it's a little disturbing for people living in proximity. And I've had a couple of calls and an email on firearms being discharged in the township, and just thought I'd bring that at this time to the board's attention because
Are they sure they're in there? There's a lot of hunting camps back there.
No, you can.
there are, but I,
During that night, just right
yeah,
by Sandy Bottom.
a couple that reside close by have apparently been in there and have been in close proximity when shooting's been going on in the pit. So I've not witnessed it myself. I'm passing on information I've received, but I'm just alerting the board to that. And there are signs up about trespassing in that area. So we'll clear the debris away and see if that has any impact. They're not visible from the road right now. They are, they're barely visible.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Oh,
Oh,
wait,
oh,
wait,
I'm
wait,
sorry, go ahead.
You have the note about the light. Is that
Oh.
something you can do, or do we need
Oh, no, you
to?
have to have that while you're in.
Okay.
They wanna, it was brought up to my attention, they got a light over here where the trash cans are.
Oh, yeah, on the back of the building.
Yeah, that's right, I put that on top of the report. I know it is really dark there, so. You could get a motion light there, just a basic LED, whatever you want. That's the down there motion LEDs.
Is that something that you would install?
No, you'd have to have that wired in, they'd have to drill a hole and go down. Go into the breaker.
Should we get bids for that too?
I think we would do a motion then to pursue a motion light for the back of the building. Get estimates.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Gardner. Support?
Yes.
Mr. Jenke, any further discussion on the motion to get a light for the back of the building, motion light or another applicable light, and get estimates for our October meeting? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you, Dale. Dollar Bay Fire Department.
Okay, we had one tree from the last meeting we had, just had a tree come down last Thursday, we had the high winds come through on Lower White Mills Road. And after that, I got more, there is talk about getting a dumpster similar to what Tamarack City has and doing can drives and making it a Dollar Bay improvement fund. So we can buy, like maybe flags that we need, or maybe Fourth of July banners or whatever. And at the same time, we have to get the door on that building across from us repaired or fixed. And according to, I wish Donnie was here tonight because he could give me some numbers on what they take in every month. In probably 1 month's time, we could probably get that door taken care of in not 2 months. It'd come out of that fund. Dumpster would be free, no charge for that. And do like Tamarack does, get something started in Dollar Bay here. Other than that, that's it.
idea. Great idea.
That's all I've got.
With regards to Ron's request, is there any discussion on the idea? A motion to permit the fire department to go forward with it.
I know how to take care of that door, Ron.
What's that?
I know how to take care of that door.
Yeah, me too. Take it off.
Yeah.
Now that we've got a solution, when resources conceivably coming to pay for it. That's something that the fire department can initiate on their own, or does it require board action? I mean, it's purely information.
I think the fire department can handle it.
Acceptable? Thank you. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Footnote, we are talking about the fire department volunteering the time and labor necessary to collect, sort, and then bring for deposit. Right?
Yeah. Same day at Tamarack does. That's like I said, when Donnie was here, he could take it and show us a little bit more how to do it.
It's fresh in my mind because I went by it and Mr. Westfall was in the garage sorting when I went by today. And it has been very beneficial in Tamarack City. Thank you. Dollar Bay First Responders. There's something in your packet. Lloyd? Tamarack City Fire Department. Short report. Mr. Klein. Tamarack City Water Utility Board, there's the agenda for the last meeting, Secretary's report and minutes. Forest Lake Sewage Authority, you have the agenda for their most recent meeting, along with some additional information. They are searching or filling out applications for additional funding. More information will be available on that, as I understand it, down the road. Supervisor's report, I'll remove my mask so I'm able to read and see, and I will try to move expeditiously through my items. Let me start with potholes since they came up. Been in almost weekly contact with the road commission relative to work that can be done in the township. I'll be talking with Mr. Sema again as early as Monday of next week. And I will bring up potholes again. I do know that they did have a pothole patching crew come through Dollar Bay some time ago this summer, but the work that they did was limited. I know they've done some work on shoulders in Dollar Bay, but I don't think they've completed that, at least not to my knowledge. They are aware of roads that are in need of repair and will add potholes to the list relative to the discussion. The Lori Burton site visit that will affect the fire departments and the township office relative to our insurance. We are looking at a date now in early to mid-October for reschedule. Because of COVID restrictions, she had to postpone the last one, but is now back out on the road. We'll be talking either later this month or in early October to set a date, but she did indicate to me that there wasn't a single date that we had available, that she had available this month. With regards to the road commission, going back to that for a moment, all of the road work is done that the road commission has been contracted for in Tamarack City, with a few possible exceptions, but I can't recall any off the top of my head right now. They did make an offer to repair E Street in Tamarack City on the top of, or up Tamarack Hill from the old mill site, not too far from where I live. If you're familiar with my house in Tamarack City. The offer is $8,000, but the precinct water fund at this moment, after all bills are paid, would be down to about $3,000. But if we do not address it this fall, which is not at all likely, we'll pick it up again in the spring when we may have some additional money and be looking to partner with the road commission for a number of projects, but specific to precinct 1, Oneiko Road, and conceivably E Street in Tamarack City. So I'm not suggesting we take any action. We don't have the resources tonight left in our account to pay that bill. Guzman update, I talked with neighbors. The property is slightly better than it was about 2 weeks ago. Went by it myself and did notice that there was some slight improvement relative to trash. The sanctions relative to the finding, or I believe it's contempt finding court, are now in play. The individual will have, upon returning home, I think 7 days to correct the issue, and then we will have to make a decision as to whether or not we would want to go in there, clean the property, and send them a bill and or applicable, add it to the taxes for future payment. That's a decision that we would make down the road. Sandy Bottoms, just to go back to that, we're looking at closure probably by month's end, ending on Friday the 25th or something like that. There'll be, toilets will be cleaned out one more time and then locked. Dale, if I recall our conversation, should have brought it up during your report. I apologize. I did mention gunfire, allegedly, apparently in the township, both out by the beach and up on the north end. I've gotten a contact and an email relative to up off of Dover Road, but no follow-up. Thank you for assisting me with that, Krista, but they have not followed up yet. Get back in touch with me. With regards to the ice rink, I've been in contact with our insurance company twice in the last 2 weeks. We have pictures going down there probably by week's end, if not early next week. We have some ideas that we've discussed internally about that are consistent with what Mr. Janke raised from the board last month when we talked about a major improvement. Krista, you had an idea about what we might do or consider?
Oh, it was, I mean, I hate to even suggest it, but this is just my feeling, because we lost, I don't know, Erin, have you been by there? Have you seen? Okay, so we lost the ones closest to the road when we had a windstorm, like not the last one, but the one before, tore them right out. I mean, it flopped them right over, broke them, they're all like warped. Then the one we just had 3 days ago, the big windstorm, it took out big sections, like the rest of them on that whole front wall closest to the road is down. And then there's big sections, like, I mean, they're ripped right out and dumped right over. So I was thinking, if we try to do it now, if we try to get them, which we also put a thing out for bids and nobody answered, so that's a problem too. That we're
I mean,
gonna
I've
be
seen them from the
doing,
road. I know what you're talking about. I just haven't looked at them
Yeah.
closely.
It's a mess.
but
Well, most of them are shot
I
anyway.
feel like if we do it, it's gonna be a big rush job and we're gonna do it, you know, cause the snow is gonna be flying soon. And thought that maybe we could consider not opening the ice rink just for this year, taking the money from this year's budget, moving it to next year's budget, along with the money from the insurance to cover the cost to repair them, and then look at maybe like phase 1 of this project that we want to move forward with.
And looking for the grants and
Yeah.
doing the roof and, you know, like you talked about.
I mean, I'm like two-sided with it because especially with COVID going on, it's like
Yeah.
one of the only things people can do is go outside, you know, and not have to worry. But at the same time, I feel like if we put any money into it, we're just throwing it away because it's not going to be a permanent solution. It's going to be a hurry-up solution before winter gets here. So I don't know.
If you were to use that plywood again, which half of the plywood gone, over half is rotted. And I suggest to put, instead of the one brace that you have, you know, that comes up and it's bolted to the, actually some aren't even bolted to the concrete, but to the blacktop. Have 2 of them and then get a hammer drill with cement concrete anchors with a big washer, go down about so deep. That way it'll hold in there.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to put anchors in before.
Yeah, well, they're a little, the ones they
Yeah,
put
I
in
mean,
are almost like the drywall.
Well, I mean, we tried to do something else besides those tap cons, and they just,
Yeah,
it's really hard to get them in.
it is.
So, yeah, I don't know what the best solution is. We'd have to definitely look into something here.
And the other thing would be something lighter.
I mean,
Yeah, so
if we find a way to try to tip them back up and use them just for a little bit here, I don't know. I guess gotta go look at it closer and see, or if we didn't get anybody to bite on it, I do hear you. And I'd much rather use the money and try to go get a grant and match a
Yeah.
grant and try to actually, let's start looking at doing something down there, you know?
A significant improvement, like you
Significant,
suggested at the
right.
last meeting.
Significant, it's
Close
time,
it and-
you know?
Well, if they don't use the board, you can always do what we used to do when we were kids, we banked the snow.
Yeah.
We
Well,
talked
we
about
talked
that
about that.
today.
Yeah, we used to do all we
We
did.
did.
Or still flood and
Yeah.
put snow up.
I mean, you could take them off to one side, you know, I mean, try to do the best we can with what's left,
Yeah.
you know?
We've even tried to get local contractors to just respond and give us an estimate, and no one has risen to the occasion yet to even go down and take a look for us. So it isn't just the bid process. We're reaching out to people, and we'll continue to do that. See if we can at least get an estimate.
I know about 4 years ago, I can't remember how many 2x4s and pieces of plywood I put in there, quite a few. And it's not a one-person job.
Well, and then the lumber cost was the other
It's
issue.
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking
It
about.
Might be a little less in the spring, who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're continuing to explore options, and we'll be in contact next week with our insurance company. We've got pictures to give to them and whatever, and they may send an adjuster down and give us a figure as to what they're willing to part with on our behalf. Our deductible is only $500. So it would be nice to have some estimates to go in, so we've got a context for what an adjuster might offer. I did mention already my conversation with Chris Holmes at UP Engineering, and we're working towards the application relative to a truck, looking at for initially the water system. We have some issues we've got to address about how the money would look through, and then we got to look at our general fund to see what we might have to add to the pot for that. The idea of repairing, maintaining, and ultimately even painting the current water truck and using it as the maintenance vehicle and buying something either brand new or very close to new is what we've been discussing. And we're going to meet again probably in a couple of weeks or so. There is in your packet something that came in today from Jeff Ratcliffe, application for funds and a letter requesting support from local units of government to repair the snowmobile trail between Hancock and Lake Linden. That information is in your packet. They're looking for a letter of support from us. If you had a chance to see it, take a look at it, take a peek at it. It'll be in your packet after the other reports. Jeff on behalf of KETA and I believe the KETA/Chamber. And then, of course, a sample letter of support for this effort to obtain grant money to repair the trail.
I mean, obviously, we want to support trying to go get grant money to try to fix it, you know?
There's not a request for funding from us. I glanced at it, gave it a cursory review.
I don't have the issue with that.
Same.
Okay,
I
then
say
would someone make a
support.
motion then to support the effort, and we'll use the sample letter and put a letter together and get it off from the township by the end of next week.
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support for the motion?
I'll support.
Ms. School, any further discussion on the motion to support the effort to secure money to repair the snowmobile trail between Hancock and Lake London? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you. Fulton County Recreational Authority, I talked with Mr. Larson today at length, the new county administrator. You rephrase that, since I didn't know a whole lot about it, he did most of the talking, and we will meet in early October. I told him that we had tabled it, and I will schedule a vote with your understanding for the 14th of October after I meet with him and others relative to this Fulton County Recreational Authority. They had no meeting scheduled after we met in August. And I talked to him, he said, we haven't done anything formally since last spring, but they're planning on getting together soon. I'll talk to him in early October. Lastly, a heads up, it's my intent to be out of the office Monday the 28th, Tuesday the 29th, and Wednesday the 30th of this month. With members of the family, I'm planning what I'm referring to as the memorial trip to my wife's favorite places in Minnesota and South Dakota, Hinckley and Deadwood. So be gone from the area about 8 or 9 days, leaving after work on the 23rd and then coming back in the following Thursday or Friday. Just a heads up. These are all subject to change, of course, based on COVID situations at all, but that's the plan as of this moment. Thank you. That's all I've got for my report, and thanks for the action on the items mentioned. Unfinished business. We have Mr. John Paul Pila here from Travis Engineering on his issues. And Andy, are you handling the report for Mason?
Jim is on.
Oh, Jim is on? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
John Paul, if you don't mind, you'll be next. And Jim, the floor is yours. UP Engineering report on the Mason Sewer project to include action items for us.
Yes, thank you. Just so you know, construction is moving very well. The contractor's on schedule, or maybe even ahead of schedule from what I gather. And sounds like MGO is doing a really good job at coordinating with residents and cleaning things up as they move along. So I have here a couple three items. The first one is the Eagle 29th request for disbursement. What I want to explain there is on their budget, we are up to the engineering amount in the budget. With this 29th request, there was $1,442.32 left in that budget, which is all grant. And then under construction, MJO, we're including their application for payment, which is their first one, which is $88,439.69 in this request. And then there will still be another $162,227 remaining for construction under the Eagle grant. I'm assuming next month in their pay app will exceed that. So we'll have one more Eagle request for grant money, and that should use up all their money. The full $582,937 in grant. So what happens here then, there's another application to rural development, and there's a resolution that goes along with that one, which I sent along. And that's just the remainder of UP Engineers invoice above and beyond the $1,442 that we're requesting from Eagle. So if there's any questions, I can take them, but we'll need an approval on the Eagle request for reimbursement of $89,882.01.
Jim, may we take these in order?
I don't know what order you have them in.
Well, I'm following your orders. You identify them.
Okay, Eagle, yeah, Eagle, as far as the Eagle grant disbursement, in the amount of $89,882.01.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Ms. Hool, do I have support?
I'll second.
A motion and support. Do I have any questions on the motion to approve? This is number 29.
29.
Number 29, Eagle request. Hearing no additional comments, we'll have a roll call vote.
Mr. Jenke?
Abstain.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Hopla?
Yes.
Myself? Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. The next one would be the resolution approving payments totaling $16,639.68. And that's the remainder of UP Engineers invoice, less the $1,442 that was just approved under Eagle.
Do I have, is that it, Jim?
Yep.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
Yeah.
Ms. Gardner, do I have a support?
I'll support.
Ms. Hool, do I have any further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none. I'll have a roll call vote.
Mr. Jenke?
Abstain.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Hopla?
Yes.
Myself? Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so I'll need back a signed copy of the Eagle disbursement request, and that one's been pretty typical. We've been doing every month here for a long time, so you're familiar with that. As part of the rural development packet, I will need the resolution completed and signed, all the blanks filled in, the ayes and nays, and then the clerk signs that. I'll need Mark to sign the 440-11 form that's attached in that packet. And also I will need Mark to sign the payment application for MJO in the appropriate spot under for owner. And those can be given to Aaron if you sign them tonight, or just drop them off at my office. The next item I have is a change order for MJO. It's a cost adjustment of $4,530.87 for some unforeseen items that they ran into in the field. The change order is pretty clear on those items. There was a water main relocation, that the water main had to be relocated as it was, I think, in conflict with the sewer when they ended up digging it up and finding it. And there was a casting adjustment that had to be made, which is a pretty minor part of the change order. So based on that, I'd be looking for an approval for that. And as far as the budget goes, we have plenty of contingency still remaining in the budget. Right now, the contingency before the change order was $58,000. But there's other items that I don't think we're going to end up using, such as there's $12,000 in legal services. So that'll get added into contingency. And land, there's over 7,000. I think all our land purchases are completed. So we have plenty of contingency. MJO has all the main line in the ground. They're working on the drain field, and they're going to start on the main lift station. So there's a good portion of work done, so I'm pretty comfortable with the contingency that's remaining. Is quite adequate to approve the change order. It's change order number 1.
I'm sorry, Jim, you need a
It'd be
motion to approve the change order for
Yes,
MJO.
yes.
Calling then for a motion to approve the change order presented by UP Engineering. Thank you. Support for the motion?
Support.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote, please, on the change order.
Ms. Gardner? Yes.
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 Motion carries.
Okay, and again, that one will need to be signed by Mark where it says owner accepted. And then if I could get a copy of that back, I'll then process all this paperwork. One thing I want to point out that we might not have discussed on this project is the project does include equipment, a piece of equipment, and Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's for a purchase of a mower for the drain field.
Correct.
So I think it's time that we need to have you, put out, and I think Andy can probably help you with this as far as pulling together some certain specifications for a mower, and you need to probably request bids for that. I know there's local, like Husqvarna right there in Dollar Bay, I would think would be one you'd want to give an opportunity to. And I believe rural development will want to see, bids coming in on those. So you typically go out to 2 to 3 places for numbers. And then when they come in, you basically just award it, and whatever you award, we submit that for reimbursement underneath a rural development grant. But I think we should start working on that piece of the project, knowing that the contractor's going to be wrapping his end up probably by the end of October. So it'd be good to have that in place. So basically, I'm just saying Andy will work with you, Mark, on providing similar pieces of equipment specifications that other communities have purchased for this.
Is there a
For
timeline
similar.
for that?
Pardon me?
Is there a timeline for that? Our next board meeting is the 14th of October. Is that something that we can do between now and then?
Yes, that's what I'm recommending that you do for your next board meeting, to have bids by then.
Thank you. I'll anticipate hearing from Andy then, probably sometime next week.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
That concludes what I had.
Actually, I think we have multiple copies of the resolution, I believe. I have another copy of it. We approved one for $16,639.68. I believe that was the second action item.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
I
just
think that's
copies.
just more detailed. Okay.
All right.
I believe we've addressed everything.
Yes.
Anything else for us?
I think I'm all set.
Yes, we have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are we still discussing the sewer Mason system?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I just have a few questions. I'm Linda Heisler's husband, Michael.
Please ask your question.
Okay. I realize that we have 90 days to hook up after the completion of the project. The project's probably not going to be completed before winter arrives. And in the notes in the original commentary from UP Engineering and from MJO, it said that the hookup period will extend through the spring of 2021. Is that still in place?
Jim?
Well, I don't know what notes you're reading, but as far as the extension, that's not something that MJO or UP Engineer makes that decision on. The township has at the meeting right after our public meeting did make a motion and agreed that if the 90 days wasn't enough because of weather, that they would extend it. And that we're just going to play that by ear and see if it has to happen. If MJO wraps this thing up by the first week of October and we have a really good fall and say we get into an Indian summer and the 90 days works out, then great. If not, they agreed that they would extend it for how many days are left, extending it into the spring to allow people to hook up then. And we did a cash flow analysis that shows, you know, your payments are going to start on the bond part of it, but the project also includes capitalized interest to pay those payments for the first year, knowing that people won't be able to hook up right away. So we're in good shape that way.
Okay, so in your opinion, and I did stand corrected, that was the Osceola Township billings part of the questionnaire that was given to us. But we're looking at 90 days hookup after the completion. With the winter coming, and we're one of the couple couples that are not going to be in Mason for the winter time. We're still going to have until late spring to hook up, correct?
If there is an extension put on it, yeah. If I'm not sure how, I'm hearing the contractor might be ahead of schedule. So yeah, there's going to be, I would assume there's going to be a certain number of days that will be extended into the spring. If they start up, if everything's up and running, say by the end of October, and if we have a good November, there might be 30 days available this year yet to hook up. And then with that, extending it the additional 60 in the spring. There's going to be something like that. But I would think that you're so excited about this that you'd probably hook up the first day it was available before you left.
We're already in Florida, Jim. So,
oh, you are?
Yes,
oh,
we are
nice.
zooming in from Northport, Florida. So
congratulations. That's why we got this cold weather. You took it. You took the warm weather with you.
So that, yes, that is, and then as far as billing goes, how would that work if you have some residents that, and I don't know, but some residents that hook up during the month of October or November, yeah. And then some others.
The way the ordinance reads is that as soon as you hook up, then you're on the clock to start paying, and if you're not hooked up by the 90 days, you start paying regardless if you're hooked up or not.
Okay, so basically, with the 90 days going into the spring of next year, we should be fine, and then we would start paying when we hook up. And those who hook up in October or November will have use of the system through the winter. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So if there's someone that's having real problems, they'll probably want to try to get hooked up right away with if they're having problems with their existing system.
Right, and that is a number of people in Mason. So, yeah. Mark, does that make sense to you?
We did pass a motion to look at extensions if conditions warranted. So again, to pick up on what Jim has said, if indeed the fall season is one where everybody could be hooked up comfortably without issue with the weather, and it would have to take place in that 90-day window. If on the other hand, winter sets in early or midway through the process of hookup, it would be extended into the spring, not an additional 90 days, but the balance of the 90 days, if I understand it correctly, for people to hook up once it's acceptable in the spring for construction to continue or begin again.
That's correct.
So my understanding would be if we're all ready to hook up by the beginning, let's say the beginning of October, that's 30 days. Winter sets in November, we would be given an additional 60 days in the spring.
You would be given the days that are still available. If, say, it's the 15th of November, we use 45 and we have 45 left, there would be 45 days available in the spring.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
makes
Total of 90, either all at one time or between fall and spring.
Okay,
And that startup time in the spring is typically going to be based on road restrictions being lifted.
yeah,
And an average date that we use is May 15th.
I see, okay. Now, will be, some people will be able to hook up and for example, Linda and myself will not. Maybe they can get it done within the 30 days and it's gonna take us the entire 90 days into spring. You're saying that some people will be able to hook up though, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
The unpredictable or the variable is the weather.
Yes.
And the completion date, part of that mix. Any other questions?
Have anything else?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. If not, we'll move on in our agenda.
Right.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Jim,
Thank
are
you.
you done?
Yes, I am. I'm going to drop off of here. So thank you for proving
Thank you
everything.
for your time and the extra participation.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks, Jim. Anything for Andy? Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I've got nothing further.
Thank you. Travis Engineering. People, the floor is yours.
All right, three items here. The first one, the reimbursement request for the 6th Street project. I'll get with Krista and Tracy to get the canceled checks for Siler and myself, and then we'll put it in to get that remaining 25%. Second item, the next FEMA project, or the last FEMA project, will be the combination, and I got to explain this before, but the work at the Sandy Bottom on the launch, debris removal, culvert replacement, the beach area, Airport Road by Webbins, between Webbin and Mary's house, little item on the road to the reservoir, and Gooseneck Creek. So I have a meeting tomorrow with Hunter King from Eagle to look at these sites, to make sure there's not a big deal on them, that we can get permitted what's needed, and if there's anything else that's needed. The one item is the Gooseneck Creek, and this has been talked about many times, and I'm sure some of you have looked at it when Mr. Karpiak was involved with it. It's been working, it has worked the last 2 springs, so that's one of the items I'll look at with Hunter King and find out if something could be done or should be done. I mean, it's been functioning now, but and then the last item would be that Mark had mentioned about the closeout meeting with Ian from FEMA, and this is a box check meeting. It's basically, it should have been done over a year ago. He switched jobs and went back and hasn't been done, so it's something, it's going to be a phone call with yourself and me and this Ian. And what it is, it's basically a handoff meeting that they handed from FEMA to the state, so you understand how the process goes.
And that is scheduled for?
Well, just whenever we'll schedule it. Okay. Whether he can do it whenever he's available. So it's a quick, short thing. Let's say it's a box check meeting that should have been done over a year ago, but just something that wasn't done, and he looking through his files, he knew it wasn't done. So anyway, that'll be done. So these 4 areas anyway will be planning to be put into one project, and there's a total of about $40,000 in grant money for them 4 projects.
Did you look at Gooseneck again?
Tomorrow, 11 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, well, you know, there was 2 exits on the other road. Okay, it was always the left one that I worked. That was the main one. The other one was used as an overflow. But after the high flooding and stuff, it switched, and it's starting to wear off the bark in there.
Okay.
It's eating up the, I mean, it's fine. Yeah.
Would you be available tomorrow?
What time?
11 o'clock, or about 11 o'clock. He's coming back from Rabbit Bay area, and he said,
Must be 90-year-old weather tomorrow, so I don't know.
okay. Okay.
How can I get it on?
I'll give you my number, and then I can call you. I can see if you are available. It worked out.
Myself,
10
it doesn't
minutes
work
there.
over there, so there's no signal at all.
Okay.
But,
So you may be available, Dale, to participate
well,
in the
if I
meeting.
get my wife over there, because she's night shift, so I'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, that should be rerouted because it's actually going where it's not supposed to go.
Yeah.
It'd be good if you would be available, and I could explain.
I could go over there for a little, how much work?
You gotta go over after, we can go look at it, if you got 2 minutes after.
Yeah, I can go after.
That's what we can look at.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds better.
So so Sandy Bottom is closing on 25th.
Yeah.
Closed down. So that that, so that project would take place after that, but project, before the next meeting, the project would be together, so.
The last thing I mentioned to you is a quick overview of the Sixth Street project
Yeah.
in Tamarack City.
And everything is complete, and I guess we've been over the pay estimates and everything, I think, is that all straightened out, is there any further questions on that, or is that?
You have in your packet the request for funding from Travis Engineering, 13,000. I don't have it right in front of me.
462.50.
Thank you. We have a need to add additional money to the already approved 25,000 in precinct 1 road funds to complete the payment for the project. We would need to add $6,447.52, bringing the total to $31,447.52 to meet the statement from Travis Engineering.
What was the remaining amount?
$6,447.52. That would be added to the previously committed money and bring our total to $31,447.52 to pay our share of the project costs.
Okay.
And then we could pay out of that Travis Engineering invoice. We have already taken care of paying Siler Contracting for their.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve the additional $6,447.52 out of precinct 1 road funds?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support? Support. Mr. Janke, is there any discussion on the motion to approve the additional revenue requested in the amount of $6,447.52 from road fund monies to pay, along with other money already approved, the invoice from Travis Engineering? No further discussion. Roll call is called for, please.
Mr. Jenke?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Hopewell?
Yes.
Myself, yes.
Motion carries. John Paul, anything additional?
No, I have nothing.
Thank you. Let me find my agenda. Next item on our agenda is picking the next ordinance for placement on our website. We have had some responses to the blight ordinance. Reviewing those over the next several days. Is there a preference from the board? Dangerous buildings, junk cars, burn, or any other? It's not that we would not take comment on the blight ordinance, but we'll move past and post a different ordinance. Is there a preference, or would the board simply like office staff to post one as of Monday of next week?
Take away that carport next to me.
Um,
Well, you see it every day.
I see it every day too.
Which is?
That carport that's collapsed. The wife looks at it every day, and I'll tell you what, you're gonna light that thing on fire one of these days, I'll tell you.
You're suggesting maybe we post the dangerous building ordinance for review and comment?
Well,
Who's there taking the pictures?
Hmm?
There's somebody there taking the pictures a couple weeks ago.
there's been quite a,
sale.
there's been probably
For
a,
sale.
Well, we have a recommendation. Ron, is that acceptable?
That's fine.
get a hold of the schools.
All right.
They're all
Well,
the-
and the next ordinance to be posted will be the dangerous building ordinance. That will go up as early as next Monday.
We talking about your
Mhm.
neighbor? I had,
You,
just a short thing.
please.
The realtor, I had heard, informed him that there isn't any water into that house. So it has to be replaced.
So we'll have somebody hooking up to the system when sold or prior to sale.
Somebody's gonna have to fix it.
Mhm.
Current or new owner. Thanks, Bob. New business, community garden. Ms. Gardner.
So there seems to be an issue with the drainage that goes from the three corners. I can't remember if we've gone over this or not, but I guess there's drains in the three corners and they all come underneath right there. And if any of you have been over there, want to go look at it, there's a part
We know it well.
from where, yeah, you know how it's like sinking, you know what I'm talking about. So I need to know how to move forward. I don't know how to remedy this. I don't want to have a garden put up and then we have a big flood or a problem or that, because we need to get it tilled, we need to get it leveled, and that's what we're waiting on, but we're trying to figure out what to do about the drainage situation that we don't really know what's under there.
Think of it as being well irrigated repeatedly throughout the
We
year.
won't need the water.
Thanks, Aaron, I needed it.
Snide comments not appreciated. Eh? Well, where are we at with getting those catch basins sucked out?
We've been trying for over 3 years.
Well, there have been repeated calls to
Who do we
Torch
try?
Lake
Torch Lake.
to come
Torch
down
Lake
and do it,
Yeah.
and they told me in the summer to get in touch with them in August, which I tried to do, and I've called them in the last couple of weeks and left messages, but they indicated back in May and June that they had a hectic schedule and weren't sure they would be available, and they have not returned my calls, but I'll make another one in the morning.
That's the only way we're gonna get those things, unless
Every
we
one of these gotta be done.
unless we start looking at some other way. But the problem with storm sewers is there's no revenue for storm sewers, so it's always an issue. And the only way we can deal with this particular one is to use a chunk of the road fund and try to get them sucked out. You know what I mean? Because it happens quick too. There's not enough protection, and I don't even know if it would matter that way much anyways, but with the deteriorated road situation right there and the poor shoulders, a lot of silt material or dust material ends up in the bottom of those catch basins, and as soon as it does, it doesn't take very long, and as soon as it does, it's like throwing a wet blanket down there. They don't drain anymore, you know, so they don't go anywhere. They're just holes in the ground. So the problem with it is we've been trying for 3 years. Them things probably should be done every other month, you know, and it's just we don't have a good solution. And the township's not flush with cash in order to be able to do that. We can't buy our own truck. So unless you want to talk to Chris Holmes and get 55% of the truck instead.
I know you ready to run a sucker truck? Myself a note. If I recall correctly, their rates are $150 an hour.
And we can charge Dale out at $150 an hour to all the surrounding people. Anyway,
we'll make a call. We'll see if they're
anyway,
available.
that's the only solution that there is to fix that. There's no other one.
The last time they were here was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I was 18, eh?
I think so.
Yeah.
But based on conversation, and I reminded him of that, and he said, yeah, we know we do your drains.
Yeah, but they
This
never
is a
finished.
conversation in the late spring, early summer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
called
they
him
did.
back when I was supposed to and never got a call back.
I think they did about 4 or 5 of them. At least.
So,
Also,
and there's no other permanent solution that's not going to cost a lot of money.
No.
There's not another, you know, I mean, we would have to get some kind of a drainage millage or something like that we would have to put forth in order to try to clean this up, because there's no way we can do it with funds that we have right now.
So if the plan right now is to till the whole thing and then they're gonna level it out for us so that we can start putting in the fencing and whatever, should they just avoid that corner
Well, I mean,
completely,
there's a
or?
fire hydrant there anyways, isn't
There
there?
is.
So you kind of got to stay away from that corner anyway.
Yeah. But there's stuff that should be removed too. It's just about, it's a little off center towards
Is there enough material there to till, or are you gonna have to bring material in?
From Jed Webman and somebody else and Rick were over there looking at it, and they said that they recommend tilling the whole thing. They're doing it all. They're donating it to the township, but
Yeah.
they're going to, I'm assuming they're just gonna till it first. And
Well, I
that
mean,
was what
most
they
other
recommended.
places on this side of town don't have a ton of
Right.
of
lot of rock.
luscious
Tons of
topsoil
rock.
on top.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's
Right.
there might be a few inches of topsoil, and you're right, hit the rock already.
Yeah.
You know,
And they're not, all they're doing is gonna bring like a sand mixture in because we're building raised beds anyway. We're not
Okay.
planting
So-
right into the ground.
I'm just, my thought was, is to ensure that you don't have, I mean, if you're gonna have raised beds, that's part of your problem solved right there.
Mhm.
And, you know, in order to do it, it'd be just like any other thing, if you could bring in, if you could find somebody that could give you some material to put in there, you know, to raise it up a foot
Mhm.
and taper the lot away, you know.
Mhm.
Well, obviously, you're gonna increase the problem by doing that, but you know, any kind of grading that starts pushing water towards the right of way is gonna be, and we don't have an ordinance to deal with that, so I feel we'll end up, you know, probably slightly increasing the problem by doing that.
Well, if I get any kind of a response from Torch Lake Township, I'll let you know right away.
Okay,
I'll call them tomorrow morning again.
okay. So in the meantime.
You could dig a pond in the middle.
There you go, plant fish. Have a trout pond in the middle.
Yeah.
Chris, anything else?
Well, so what, the problem is we have the grant from Portatel Foundation, so we have to start making progress and we've made none. And I don't know what to do because people
I don't
keep
think
saying,
that-
this is a problem, this is a problem, but.
I don't know if it's really that much. I don't remember watching the water ever flood way over that lot. It's not usually what I see. It's usually the 3 basin areas get flooded, and then to be honest with you, it starts heading towards Stevens' house. That's usually where it goes. It doesn't usually go towards that lot. It usually goes, unfortunately, into Stevens' basement.
Right, okay.
So
But as far as like, so should they fill in that spot or should they just leave that spot alone? Cause it's really spongy. You can see it's like permanently wet and it's
I
all
wouldn't be
sunken.
monkeying around with that drainage area or that corner, really. I'm gonna have to box that corner.
Yeah, okay, all right, that's a little film.
Yeah, it was kind of wicked cutting out there. I almost got stuck in there.
Yeah,
Anything else?
and then the stump, right?
Yeah, there's
Center.
stump.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Until it stay
There's
away
something
from
more
the
tripping
wet
hazard
spot.
than anything.
right, okay, we've gotta go back to A, we gotta go back to the water, we gotta do roll call for the radios. Please skip that.
That's the last item on the new business.
Let's see A.
So we're going back, I think there's 2 items from the water board. One is the accepting of all the reports, if I recall correctly, and the other is to vote on the purchases. We recommended up,
Then we can go.
did we not, the reports?
Yes, yeah.
I think we've in effect already accepted the reports.
We did.
No, so we have an additional item before I make one final call for public comment. We have action items from the Osceola Township Water Board. And Bob has an item that he'd like to bring to our attention prior to that. So Bob, the floor is yours.
This is the house on Second Street, Tamarack.
Oh, no.
It's, what you call Northern Plumbing. I was told they were supposed to come through the floor in the basement. Okay, as you can see, it's 7 inches above the floor. And it's not even sleeved. You know, and they were supposed to come through the floor. Okay, and this is the top of what was there. This was just to get a measurement to the, there's a window in that basement. So that's 34 inches to that cell. And this is another 15 inches to the bottom of the window. Now this window is underneath the porch. So, you know, he's, Northern, I don't know, he claims he insulated that pipe outside, but I never got to see it. He buried it up before I even knew he was doing it.
So how deep is it outside?
Where is it, Ronnie?
If you add that up,
If you look at it, I mean, you look out the window and the ground underneath the window is gonna be about like this.
Yeah.
And you know, if there's no snow on there,
yeah,
it's gonna follow the foundation now.
it's gonna freeze. And plus no sleeve is,
Right.
you're gonna have a problem there probably too, but, Yeah, I mean, like when we did that one at the house I had, we had to cut a chunk of the floor out and come underneath.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
the
we
way
had
it's
to do
supposed to
it.
be.
So, question is, you know, what are we gonna do about that? I mean, they put a new line in, and then you're gonna go right back to having somebody gonna wanna be on a let run even after they have a new line in, because it's gonna be froze all the time, or how are we gonna deal with that?
In Tamarack City, you have to pay for every drop of water that comes through
Well, you're
the meter.
supposed to too, you know, I mean.
But you're not supposed to be, you're not allowed to have a let run.
So,
Those
I
are-
don't know where we would go for this, Bob. I mean, obviously the suggestion would be, hey, you gotta come back and redo this, but, that is not gonna go over real well.
I don't care.
Do we want to alert the homeowner with a letter from the township indicating that that is not appropriate, what's been done?
Tell them it's gonna be shut off.
Well,
He has to fix it.
I don't see why we can't bring it up right now. I mean, let's head this off at the pass before somebody starts coming that back at us, you know, for anything or. I mean, a letter sounds good to me to start with. See where that goes.
Letter out to the township, from the township to the homeowner indicating that the setup is not.
Northern Plumbing is the same one that did, played it their way on Osprey Avenue. The gentleman was told he had to have 2 meters, one in his separate garage, which is livable. It's not just a garage, and a house, so Northern Auto told him, we'll run a plastic water line back to the garage, so we don't have to only pay 1 meter fee. I mean, that was, Northern Autos had no business telling him that.
Yeah.
There will be correspondence on that issue going to the homeowner next week about the need to have his lines reviewed, inspected.
That's what they should have done. They should have got a hold of Bob before he buried that.
Agreed.
You know, they should not
That's
have
why
been
they
buried.
buried it right away, so I couldn't see what they were doing.
The ordinance is very clear on this point about inspection prior to service being turned on. We will be alerting them, the correspondence. With regards to this one, is that the preferred method? I can certainly write a letter.
I absolutely think that's the way you gotta go. I mean, there should be no services put in that are not inspected prior to our, you know, not given approval, you know, there needs to be an approval.
If they're on our system, they have to be approved if it's new service.
I would think that's.
I can draft a letter and get it out next week.
I mean, anybody who does these kinds of things
Be comparable
knows
for
that that's
both.
the way everybody is.
Bob,
Okay.
same kind of letter for both parties, right?
Sure.
Is that acceptable? I'll have those in your packet for the next meeting. I'll coordinate with Bob and talk with others about what needs to go into the letter. We'll put something else next week.
Yeah, you might as well just send it to them,
Yeah,
and we'll
that's
see,
just it. We'll
see what,
see
what kind of hardest test we kick.
well, we'll include the portion of the ordinance that applies.
Yeah.
And we'll be polite and alert them to it, but they really need, they can't expect service to be turned on if we haven't had a chance to look at their service line from the curb stop. That's for new service, that's expected in the ordinance. We'll point that out, we'll give them a copy of the ordinance. We'll ask them to make their service available or understand that adjustments may have to be made. Does that sound about right, Bob, based on? I started working on it, I just don't have the draft time.
Okay.
We also have the request up from the water board for the purchases of meters, radios, and a
Crimping tool.
Yeah, crimping tool. That's what it's got it. Thank you. In the amount of $6,700. Do I have a motion to approve the recommendation from the water board for the purchases?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Gardner, do I have a support?
Support.
Mr. Janke, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jenke?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Osceola?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Anything else on new business? If not,
There's only one.
Go ahead, Bob.
Do you people realize that, what's his name, trying to sell that capper that goes on that truck?
Yes. Dale,
Yeah,
he's trying to sell it, but it's for the township, he's trying to sell it.
yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna be getting rid of that truck, wouldn't it be better to have the capper on the truck?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I see no reason for it to sit over by the water department or
Because it's-
wherever it's sitting, you know?
Well, you gotta bring it over here if you wanna sell it. I don't like people just driving down there just to look at the capper.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if we sell the truck, we'll sell the capper with it.
Mhm.
Get rid of it.
Well, it's an oddball size. I mean, that's a little short dicky box on that thing.
One last thing before we adjourn here too,
Public comment and then we'll adjourn.
okay, just a reminder that somewhere here soon that bill for that storm sewers we did over there on, at the school, they're all in now. I suspect that that's not too far away.
We approved up to 14,400, I believe, out of road funds for the precinct.
Just towards that. I saw, it looks like it's our sheet says there's still 96,000 in there, which I'm not sure if that's correct or not.
It's very close to that, and so
Okay.
we have sufficient revenues to cover that, maybe look at some of the other projects in town, but the bids are all pretty significant.
Okay.
Prior to a motion to adjourn, ask if there's anyone present or participating by Zoom that would like to offer public comment at the end of our meeting. Have up to 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to add anything before we adjourn?
I would, this is Kristen. Can you hear me?
I'm
Yes.
not- Could you repeat your name, please?
Yes, Kristen.
Kristen?
Yes.
You have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I wanted to offer a suggestion for the meeting with this format of the Zoom format. I think I appreciate it. I think other people on the calls appreciate being able to attend in this way. And something that we that we run across is that there's sometimes technical things that could be improved before it, for example, has been audio. And this particular meeting, the audio has been pretty good for me. But there are things that when people are coming to attend the meeting could help. An example was, I brought up the recording earlier. And when we address the things that are the experience of the Zoom attendees, that makes a much better meeting for everyone. The recording questions that I had, that affects people being able to see it later and access it, which people may want to watch this, and it affects that quality. That's one. And then another example was Linda had said that she was having an issue with her view. That's a common issue. It's something that's easily correctable. But at the same time, someone who's new to this format doesn't always know where the settings are. So the suggestion that I have is if we might add a piece of that in the beginning, whether it's an agenda item or whether it's during the public comment, but just to make sure that everyone is able to access the meeting, can hear okay, and that it's going okay, that it's going okay for the remote attendees. In this meeting, the one thing that I noted is that we didn't always know who was speaking. And because of the way that the camera is facing, we can certainly see the three of you, but if it's anyone else in the room, we don't know who's speaking. So if there could be a way to be mindful of that in the future so that people know who's talking at the time. So that's just something for consideration now that we're utilizing this brand new format over the past few months. The second topic I had was around the blight and the ordinance and the request for comments on the ordinance. I wanted to say that I'm planning to submit something and to submit some comments on that. So, and that will be within the next week, maybe even in the next couple of days. I'm also looking forward to a response on the questions that I had put forward, trying to understand a little of the history from 2019 and 20, and with the particular complaint that Cindy and I are following up on. And one comment that I would share with the board that I received an overall comment in putting out a request to UPR Cares for feedback was that more than the policy itself and the ordinance itself having an issue, was that there doesn't seem to be the enforcement there. And we had attended a meeting a couple months ago, and Aaron spoke at length about, you know, that there can be issues with the enforcement. But that would be something that of interest is, how is the enforcement going? What are the hiccups that the township runs into when they go to actually enforce it? How is the informal versus formal process? I mean, it just led me to questions around that as well. And which leads into my last note here, which is, are there specific issues that the township has during the enforcement process that are within the township's control, realizing that there are pieces of it that have to do with the regulations and, you know, the legal process of following up on these on blight. But I'm interested in it. I know Cindy's interested as well. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to make some progress in addressing blight in the community. Some of the comments that, or the feedback that, I'm sorry, the research that I found was that there is even some money potentially available. There was earlier this year, there were grants available to address blight from one of the jurisdictions, and I'll put that into my comments. And another final comment that I will be adding is that I found examples of where a registry is created for monitoring blight. And I thought that was an interesting idea. The idea of putting the blighted properties onto a registry that do get monitored. But once again, I'll be putting that into an email, and I'll forward that to Mark and copy Krista on that.
Please do. We gave you a few extra minutes because we did not spend a lot of time on blight. Is there any final comment in the last 10 or 15 seconds?
Not from, that's what I had from me. Just, you know, like I said, looking forward to hearing back from you guys on the questions that myself and Cindy had put out there, and I will be forwarding something to your attention in the next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to comment before I call for a motion to adjourn? Thank you very much for attending and your participation with the Township Board meeting this evening. Motion to adjourn is in order. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Janke, is there support?
I will.
Ms. Gardner, all in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We stand adjourned.
Thank you.
I have to sign some documents.